Hey guys, LootWizard here with another Soulforge video. We got a new troop, we have new stuff in the Forge, and a new event, so let's get right into it. This guy's a new troop, new ultra rare. It's the Haunted Guardian. We'll go check him out in a moment. We also have Guild Wars going on this week. I probably won't talk too much about that. We do have another world event going on, so that's probably what we're going to focus on after we go to the Soulforge here. And I always start with weapons and then move to troops. And for weapons, I don't recommend getting any of these, honestly, because they're just not that good. You got Cane Sword down here. This is for knight allies. There isn't really a whole lot of great knight allies. And you can make a team without using one of these weapons that generates mana for it. This one is for Sword's Edge allies. Lots of kingdom, so I don't recommend, crafting any of those. I don't think they're worth it. So moving on to troops, I'll go through these summoning stones really quick, see if there's anything good in here. Apothecary is good. Most everybody probably has that one though. Let's see what's in green. Leprechaun is great. If you don't have it, yeah, you can try to pick it up there. I don't know why you wouldn't have Leprechaun though. I mean, if you're level, if you're like level 500 to 1,000 and you still don't have a copy of Leprechaun, that is some really bad luck. Let's move it on here. I don't see too much yet. Nothing really there. You got brown. Nothing here either. All right, moving on to legendaries and mythics. Looks like they're all kind of mixed together in here. We got a few good things. Let me go over the legendaries here real quick. We have the Great Maw, we have Sekima, we have Starflower, and Captain Macaw. So, I am going to say the Great Maw is probably number one just because, I mean, it has a really high mana cost. You can only cast it once, but the fact that it does devour an enemy, as long as that enemy is not immune to devour, you can devour it, and so that means even a hero class. Like, if that hero class does not have the talent of Fortitude, you can devour that, and a lot of times this is a game-changing troop. Sekima is okay. It's powerful in the right teams because it does transform a color of gems to skulls, but it's not top tier. It's okay. Then you have Starflower, and this is another okay legendary. It just does damage to all enemies, and then it has a 20% chance to transform a random enemy to a pixie. It does have a chance to summon a random fae, but yeah, and here it does have a 50% chance to fairy fire a random enemy at the start of your turn, which allows you to do 50% extra damage, extra spell damage, that is, to that fairy fired troop. So this is it's a good legendary. I don't use it quite as often as I probably should, but it's a good one. Captain Macaw is the weird legendary troop of the day. This guy is really weird. I don't use him hardly ever because of his weird ability. He'll deal damage to an enemy, and then if the enemy is submerged, it lethally kills them, and then otherwise it submerges them. So basically, with this troop, we don't really have any good way in the game right now to submerge enemy troops. There's a lot of ways where you can submerge your allies, but there's not a great way, an easy way to submerge enemies. So this troop does submerge them if they aren't already submerged. So that means you would have to cast this troop twice on that same enemy, and hopefully they don't recover from being submerged before that second cast in order to lethally kill them. 14 mana cost, that's good. It's a little on the low side for mana. Does give all rogue allies 50% starting mana, but there aren't really a lot of great rogue ally troops in the game at this point either. So it's kind of a weird troop. I just don't use it because of that submerge thing. Now moving on to mythic troops here. We got one really bad one and like 3 pretty good ones. So the worst of the worst here is Fallen Valdis. This thing is bad. I don't even own this one yet, just because it's bad. Like, nobody ever talks good about this troop. It deals damage to all enemies, which legendaries and even non-legendaries can do that type of damage and get pretty close to what it has here. Is 33 for me. And then it will explode 3 Doom Skulls boosted by divine enemies, and then it silences divine enemies. So, like, unless you got like a Doom Skull weapon or something like that that can create Doom Skulls, then you're not going to be able to explode Doom Skulls if there's none on the board. Silencing Divine Enemies, it's an okay thing, but it's more of just like a defensive type of disrupting thing than it is a damage. So the only damage you're really getting out of this troop is the damage to all enemies. Nothing really amazing in the traits either, and it's 24 mana cost. So not a great mythic at all. It's way down at the bottom. Now we have some good ones. So Megavore is good. Eliminates all armor from all enemies, and that alone, like if you get up into higher delve levels where they have like 400 plus armor, one hit you're going to remove all that armor on every single enemy. So this thing can do a heck of a lot of damage. It does have an 8% chance to lethally kill the last enemy on a 4 or 5 match. However, I would not rely on that 8% because it's unpredictable, but it is nice when it does proc and you do get that lethal kill. Megavore is good. Then we have Obsidious, which Obsidious is also a really good mythic troop. It deals heavy splash damage to a random enemy, destroys a 5x5 block of gems, and destroying gems is going to be as if you match the gems. Exploding gems gives you, like, I don't know what it is now, 50% maybe, or 25%, somewhere in there. I don't know the exact number, but it doesn't give you the full mana that destroying gems does. And then also there's a 50% chance to deal extra light splash damage here. But one of the other great things about Obsidious is that on a 4 or 5 match it will stun all enemies, and this is really great to counter troops that have high damage reduction to skull damage, because once they're stunned that won't be a problem. So you got troops like Urgatha or any of those troops like that have, I think Urgatha is up there like 75% damage reduction from skulls. So if you stunned it, that would allow you to take it out much quicker with skull damage. So Obsidious is really good for that, but the fact that it generates mana for itself and for other troops, and then it does splash damage, I mean, it's got a lot of great things going for it. So Obsidious is definitely a good mythic troop. Now we go on here to the last one, which is the Grey King. And the Grey King is also a really good mythic troop, and it's a little bit on the lower side. So, for example, the last video I did about that new mythic troop that came out, the Flame of Anu, this is more what I'm talking about here. The Grey King looks like the developer spent some time, really trying to make it into a mythic quality troop, and they were a little bit creative with it, which I like. And on top of that, you have it at 22 mana cost, whereas the Flame of Anu was 24. This thing destroys all gems of a chosen color, which is already amazing because you get to choose which color on the board. So you can choose one of the 3 colors to power this back up, or you can choose a color that'll power your hero back up or some other troop. So that's fantastic. Then it says all enemies of that color take true damage and are mana drained, silenced, and frozen. I mean, this is what I'm talking about when you get to like a mythic quality troop. Is you got so much going on here with it that's above what you would expect from something that's like an ultra rare or a legendary troop. Then, and its last trait here, it says all undead allies gain 2 armor and magic when matching 4 or more gems. So if you do have an undead class or other troop in there, every time you get a 4 match, it'll add magic to it. But even if you don't, it will add 2 armor and magic to itself, which means this true damage, every time you get a 4 or 5 match, the true damage is going to increase by 2 every time you do that. So it's powering itself up and to do more damage. And I really like the Grey King. I use it in Guild Wars every chance I get because it really, really shuts down the enemy. If you can get the Grey King powered up before something like a Gob Truffle, then you can target it. You will silence that thing and mana drain it, and you'll also be doing true damage, and it'll give you an opportunity to fight back and defeat that team. So the Grey King for me, I think, is going to take #1 spot this week for my recommended troop to craft, especially since Guild Wars is also this week, and I think that it's one of the best mythic troops that I've used in Guild Wars. So the Grey King is #1 for me, and then I would say probably, just for the sake of usefulness, Obsidious is probably #2, and Megavore is #3. It still is a really powerful troop, but it does not have a way to generate mana for itself. So I'm going to say Great King 1, Obsidious is 2, and Megavore is 3. And then in very, very last place is Fallen Valdus. So that's my opinion there on those troops. Now moving on here to the event. We have the Lost Sword event. And it looks like it's around the Sword's Edge Kingdom. I haven't gone to the shop here yet. I need to buy enough of these to get my medal. I'm not sure if it's skull damage or spell damage this week. We're going to find out once I get my medal. So we just got a medal. And let's go equip it. Let's go up here. Medal of Crypts. Okay, so it's both. We have 160% skull and spell damage for all troops. So that's a good thing. That gives us a little bit of extra flexibility in what kind of troops we want to use. So let's go in here and try to figure out a team. Troop type is Knight. And mana color, we're restricted to blue. So I don't know what kind of team we can make, but let's go ahead and see what we got available to use. Let's do base rarity. See what the best of the best is that we have here. So restricted to Knight. Champion of Anu will do damage to all enemies, basically. So that's an option for me, because I do have it. If you don't have that, you're kind of stuck with a lot of weaker troops here. There's this is depressing. Like, isn't there any troops that does damage to all enemies? And this is just gonna do attack damage there. Spell damage. That's a support troop. Lady Ironbeard usually does good damage, but it's a single target. Luther could be good for just skull damage, because you're going to increase your attack damage with that guy. Is there any troops here that do damage to all enemies? I just see a lot of support troops and a lot of troops that just do damage to one enemy. Knight Coronet's going to do damage to the first and last enemy, so that might be an option. Yeah, this event kind of sucks. So I guess I'm gonna put in these troops here, and then we'll just try to find a good weapon. So for weapons here, looks like we're restricted to the color blue. Let me go through here and just see what our options are that are good. We have the Doomed Blade. If you do have that, that's probably going to be a good one. You got Dawnbringer. Orb of Winter is going to be good. You could use Anusceptor as a generator, but my opinion is you want to focus in on skull, or you want to focus in on skull or spell damage with your weapon, because we don't have a lot of good troops with skull or spell damage. So that is unfortunate. You do have Bronze Lock Pistol, which isn't great at spell damage, but it will give you some damage and mana generation. Fire and Ice, which we did have the availability to craft a couple of weeks ago. This guy will be good too, because it will deal damage to all enemies. I could throw him in there. Jar of Eyes, that'd be good if you just want to get that mana generation going. Rope Dart, if you have it, will probably be good. And Writhing Staff could be good. It does a little bit of spell damage, then it creates skulls. So we don't have a lot of fantastic options here. I'm just going to put in the Doomed Blade, and we're going to put Champion of Anu there, and then I guess I'll just go Titan again, just because. And for banner, I'll just go double blue, yellow, I think. And so, yeah, there's not really a whole lot of great options here for this week. for a team, unfortunately. So we'll, you know, I can already see this is gonna be a just a fantastic event. We're gonna have tons of fun. Anyway, this team will do okay, but as you can see, even with the Potion of Explosion enchantment, it's gonna take a little while to power it up. Just because my hero weapon is 18 mana, and then that mythic troop there, the Champion of Anu, is 24. So it's going to take a little while to power those up. I wish there was like a cheaper, like epic troop or something that did damage to all enemies, but I didn't see any in there. So yeah, for what it's worth, that's the team I'm probably going to go with for a while. I might rearrange a few things later, but that's the team I'm going to be going with. And then Guild Wars, like I said, you know, pretty much everybody that's watched my channel knows basically what to do with this. Set up your sentinels, set up your unique defense teams for each day to maximize your points. Use the color of the day to attack so that you maximize your points while attacking. And that's basically it. So then, I forgot to do the new troop here. So let's go in. I need to collect my spoils of war. And we're going to go check out this new troop, the Haunted Guardian. What does he do? He explodes gems in a 3x3 cross, gain 26 armor and barrier. I mean, that's good for a little bit of mana generation, and then you have armor and barrier, so it's a pretty good troop, better than I've seen in a while for these types of new troops. So that's good. I might actually use that in the future. We do have arcane spirit trait stones. Let me see. We're just getting one. So, but if you do have classes or troops that you want to power up with those arcane trait stones, now is the time to purchase them with your glory. So there you go. We got that troop, and yeah, we went over the Soulforge, went over the event. That's about it. I don't think there's another event starting until the week is over. So that's kind of nice. We just have Guild Wars and then one event. I think last time they gave us like 2 events with Guild Wars. It was kind of crazy. But there you go, guys. Not a whole lot going on with this week, but those are my thoughts on all that stuff in the Soulforge. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys, and thanks for watching as always, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.